Scoo-doo-doo boop boop bow wow wow wow.
Theme song, theme song. Theme song, theme song.
Welcome to the Can Complain podcast.
That was amazing.
Oh my God! Oh, you guys!
We've got a podcast. Try not to scream into the new
I'm
mic.
sorry. The decibels just went through the roof on there. Episode 4 is going off with the bang, folks.
Yes.
First and foremost, that amazing theme song brought to you by my good friend, D. Cullen. He is a musician based out of Ireland. Him and his fiance, Sinead, are two amazing people who I met in the New York open mic scene. I was doing an open mic poetry night, and the two of them were there taking their music on tour abroad to the States, stateside, and I love his music. It's just, it's like perfect fall vibes. You know, you just roll your windows down. He's got such a nice voice. The two of them together are musicians in the sense of like singers, songwriters, instrumental musicians. And so great stuff. He heard our plea for a pro bono theme song. And I just opened my DMs one day and see this audio recording. And I about shat my pants. I was so excited. And I was like, at first, like, why is he just sending me a clip of myself talk? And then the beat dropped, and I was like holding on to my horses because they were getting away from me. So D. Cullen, everybody, please go check out his music wherever you find your music. The letter D, and then Cullen, like Twilight. He's going to love that I said that. But yeah, the two of them are great. And thank you so much for that theme song. Please let us know how you feel about the theme song because I love it.
It's great.
If
Don't
you
complain about it.
Yeah, don't complain about it. This is the Can Complain podcast, but I don't want to hear any fucking complaints because that's a great song. Secondly, we have 3 mics now. And that's great because we have a guest with us, our first guest of the Can Complain pod.
Hello.
Give it up for our friend Erin.
Erin
Applause.
slash Birdie. Erin Birdie.
Yeah, Birdie is your dog. She's
Yes.
friends with
Yes.
Pig.
She's an
and
angel.
you are married to a man named Rob. However, we just refer to you as Erin and Birdie because that's just how it goes.
Yes.
So Rob and Birdie are kind of one entity, and it's just Erin and
Yes.
Birdie.
That's us.
Yeah. And then when you responded to our Friendsgiving invite as
Erin
Erin and
and
Birdie.
Birdie.
Yes.
But yes, it's so great to have you. Are you
Thanks
excited?
for having me. I'm very excited. Yeah, it's great to be here.
Yes.
Big fan of the pod.
I know. Well, we were wanting to have you on previously, but there was a good old case of COVID.
Yeah. Good old case of pink eye first.
Conjunctivitis.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, this is the conjunctivitis queen.
We're not going to conjunctivitis shame here.
No,
So.
no shame in my conjunctivitis game. Had that first, and then a little bout of COVID. But we're back now. We're better.
I think honestly that might be a symptom of like the new strain of COVID because Mikey's dad had COVID and pink eye as well. Oof. Although he was convinced it wasn't COVID, I think because of the pink eye.
Well, first of all,
it seems they're just going hand in hand now.
He tested positive for COVID.
Right.
He literally had COVID, but said he didn't have COVID. So
Got it. Okay.
Hashtag problematic. Hashtag still love you. Still love you, but hashtag you got the vid, friend. You got the vid.
Yeah.
But you're feeling better, right?
I'm feeling great.
I hope so, because you are on our couch.
Here I am, right next to you.
on a very small little, more of a love seat than a couch, quite honestly.
I know. We are really, there is 3 of us and Pig on the couch.
Yeah.
So editing this into bite-sized clips is going to be very
Yes.
fun and interesting. And good luck on that, Mikey.
Listen, it's a learning curve. We're figuring it out.
We are. But I really just in total feel like this episode is amped up in so many ways. Technology,
Yes.
theme song,
Guest.
guest. Everything we promised you all, we have delivered on. So if we don't drop another episode for 3 weeks,
That's
just
why.
that's because we put our whole
This makes up for it.
Yes.
podcast dossier into this episode. So I guess we can start off by maybe how we met,
Yeah.
and how our friendship evolved.
That is true.
Do you remember?
It's funny because you know how you have those friends where you're like, you don't exactly remember the day you met,
Yes.
Yeah.
but you just remember like
That we met.
that you met.
Yeah.
All I know is that we met at off-leash hours at a park near where we live
Yeah.
with our dogs. And that's all I remember.
Yep.
And then we
During,
were
during
just,
COVID. It was
during
definitely
COVID,
it was
yep.
definitely during COVID.
We were
2020.
just
Yeah.
socially distant.
Yep.
And we were just letting
Yep.
our dogs run around.
Yep.
I
Yep.
remember like when COVID was announced and the quarantine and all, I really remember being like, how is Pig going to go to the bathroom? Because
Yeah.
it was pandemonium. It was like, you will not be able to leave your house. I'm like,
Yeah.
how is Pig going to take a shit? And we also didn't even know at the time if animals can get COVID or not.
Oh,
And
yeah,
so
that
we
was
weren't
like-
letting him see other dogs in the beginning. It was wild. But you
Yeah,
didn't get
that was
Birdie
little.
until the pandemic already started, right?
Yeah, June 2020. So it was like, that was when
Few months
things
in.
like started to kind of open up. It was like a lot of outside activity.
Yeah, it was after the initial scare. Like the
Exactly.
first 2
Yeah.
well,
weeks.
we went
first,
into
like,
like
lockdown.
quarantine,
Yeah.
I think, like, what was it? It was in March?
It was March like
March, yeah,
17th or something.
Yeah, it was like
Yeah.
mid-March, and so it was like March, April, May. We were inside. We were
Yeah.
Lysoling our groceries.
Exactly.
And then, like towards the summer, people are like, "Okay, it's no longer cold. It's
Yeah.
nice and beautiful out. I'm going to lose my mind and jump off the fire escape if I don't get out of this house." So we started to like do park-related things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, we met at the park and we just started hanging out eventually. I don't
Yeah.
even remember.
I think it was just like doggy dates at first, and then it was
We
like
started slow.
Yeah, so we eased, we eased into
We
it.
eased into our friendship.
we courted each other.
We would be like, does your dog want to hang out with my dog? Or
And now it's like, okay, are you home today? Because let's just walk together.
Yeah.
Let's just go for a walk.
yeah. So yeah, you guys both came to our wedding, which was so lovely.
Aw.
Yes.
So happy you guys
No,
could
you-
be there.
Literally, you had a great wedding.
Thank you.
We talk about it probably at least once a week still.
Yeah.
It was a blast.
It really was.
Yeah.
Incredible.
We were on the
day.
dance floor the whole time.
Yeah.
That entire
I'm so
time.
glad.
It was
Beautiful
it was
venue.
a full.
It was fun.
The dance floor was full.
Yeah.
It was.
There was not a moment in time.
What
where
more
it
do you
wasn't
want?
full.
Like,
Nothing.
At a wedding.
we
That's all you
loved
want.
our wedding, but it was just like, and this is no shade to our friends and family because we had a great day, but I mean, I really thought more people would be on the dance
That's a
floor.
little
Yeah.
disappointing. You're like,
Yeah.
I expected more
I
from
think
you.
maybe
Yeah.
friends were catching up with each other, but it's just like catch up on the dance floor.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
it's
You can
like,
still talk on the dance floor.
yeah, I don't know what it was. It was like, I know people were drinking because the
Yeah.
after party, people were drunk.
Yep.
Cool.
But
The-
it
yes.
was like, where did that translate
Yeah.
to the, festivities? But to see your wedding where it's like everyone was dancing the entire night
It was nice.
was
Yeah.
very nice.
I agree with you. That was like really like that was probably one of the best parts about it. I was like, this is so awesome to have like just like showed everyone just like having a good time. And that's
Yeah.
like all we wanted.
Did you, which by the way, I loved your dress.
Thank
I think it
you.
was so beautiful and
Thank
looked
you.
amazing. But my thing was, did you feel like the day just flew by? Because I remember
Yeah.
when we were getting ready, we woke up super early to just have like a walk along the beach together,
Oh,
like
that's so
before
nice.
just have a private moment together. And then when we got back, it was like boom, boom, like hair,
Yeah.
makeup, dress, steam,
Yeah.
this, and then suddenly it was like 5:30 and we're getting married. So like, did you feel like it flew by for you too, or no?
The morning, not so much. I started like we were in the hair and makeup room and I didn't go first. I went later because there was only a few of us. So I literally was like laying on the couch in there and I was just like, la di di,
That's nice.
which was really nice. But then there was a certain point where things started to really speed up. And then, but the time in which, like, when I was getting my makeup, time started to slow down for me, which was really lovely. But I feel like once, like, it reached, like, 2:00, then all of a sudden it was, like, ceremony.
Yeah.
And then it
Right.
was, like, cocktail. So once the cocktail hour started, then it was, like, all of a sudden it was, like, dinner. You know,
Yeah.
things,
Yeah.
it does really fly by so quickly. I remembered looking at you guys and being like, it was already last call. Like, I missed last call.
Yep.
And it was just like, it goes by so quick.
It does.
Yeah.
So it really, I feel like I did like soak in all the good moments and like kind of tried to like be as present as I could.
Yeah.
So, but it's crazy how fast it goes.
Yeah. A blur. Well,
Yeah.
I mean, literally just
Yeah.
a blur.
Yeah.
Did you
It's insane.
feel like, because you guys did what we did and you eloped
Yes.
before your wedding.
Yep.
Granted, like we had a whole year to wait because of COVID, but you guys
Yeah.
did it like maybe a couple months before.
Mhm.
But were you still like when you were about to walk down the aisle, like were you still having that moment of like, oh my God, I'm getting married? Because I remember like looking at my, like when we were lined up to walk in to the wedding,
Mhm.
I remember like looking at my parents and being like, holy fuck, I'm about to get married, you know what I mean? And like not in like a cold feet type of way, but just
Yeah.
like it hit me.
Yeah.
Like my stomach was like in knots. I'm like sweating.
Yeah.
My dad's like, relax. Like I'm like, it's happening. Like, oh my God. So like, did you have that moment or was it just like, okay.
I started to get nervous earlier in the day and I like couldn't really pin like what was going on. I think it was more like the people around me were like pissing me off.
Not classic.
Love you,
Classic.
love all my family members. Like, but it was just like it was a lot. Like,
Yeah.
you kind of are like trying to just like really stay within yourself and stay relaxed. But then other people are like just kind of like there's certain things that are just like you're like that is not important, you know, right now. So that was like I think part of the reason why I was getting a little nervous. But then actually when the doors opened and we started walking down the aisle, I walked down with my mom and dad. It was like, oh my God, we've invited this many people. Like there were so many
Yeah.
people.
Yeah.
And I was like, holy shit, like I forgot how many people were there. So then I started to kind of be like, whoa.
Yeah.
And I got nervous again. But then it was fine.
Yeah.
You guys did
Yeah.
read like the whole like vows and reading portion. I thought was like so great. Like
That was actually one of my favorite parts.
yeah, it was
Yeah.
really so
Yeah.
nice. Like
It
I
was really
was
beautiful.
that was what I was most anxious about. I am like funny enough a horrific public speaker. Like it's just something I do not like doing. And I was so nervous and like my hands started to shake like when I was up there. But it ended up being like fine for the most part,
Yeah.
other than like our officiant saying Amanda, which we love.
Wait,
It's one of our
this
favorite
happened to
things.
my friend. My friend's named Rita. They said Reader.
Yeah.
And then everyone started calling her Reader.
Yes.
That's her nickname.
No, so literally, okay, so our officiant, Carol,
Who we love.
who we adore,
Oh, Carol.
has like been a friend of my grandparents for like, so they lived in New York and then moved down to Florida.
Uh-huh.
And I'm 98% sure they knew Carol from when they lived in New York.
Wow.
And they moved down to Jupiter, or Carol did first, but one of them moved down and then like told the other like you have to move to this town, it's amazing, and so then they follow. So I'm pretty sure that that's the story. But Carol growing up was always an officiant or whatever, so I always said like I want you to be the one that like
yeah.
marries me, whatever. And so she did, you know, it stayed true to that. But we were like, you know, she's an old school New York gal. And
Love
she
it.
has her book that and so we're like, we're actually just going to type up a whole new thing for you. And she was like happy with that because we don't want any slip ups of like man and woman, bride and groom, whatever.
Yeah.
So luckily she did not do that. Everything was perfect. But she did say, Amanzer and Mikey. And then she was reading one of our like readings or whatever, where it was like humans or what? She goes, humans are born with what? And she's like, it's human nature. But I was like, am I even actually married to you? Because you're married to an Amander.
Oh,
and so
God.
now our friends just jokingly
I mean,
refer to
but
us as Amander and Mikey.
The moment that she said it,
oh,
you and I both just sleep.
I could hear laughter. Like, I think my mom was like in the front row cracking. I was like
God.
a manzer in my. I don't know what it is like about. I guess it's a New York thing, but like my grandmother does it too, where it's like they drop an ER. Where it's like, oh, it's in the drawer, or like not drawer, but like in the draw. Like they'll like drop ERs where they are, but then add ERs to things that don't need
Right.
them.
That is
So like if
so
it
weird.
ends in an A, they add an ER. If it ends in an ER, it turns into an A. Like they swap it, and
That's
it's
so
so
funny.
bizarre. But yeah, Amanda and Mikey. Yeah, no, but I thought your vows were beautiful, beautifully
you.
said.
Yes.
And
I wrote them that morning.
We wrote ours literally at like 3 a.m.
we
the
were
night
up till,
before.
like,
Yeah.
I literally went to bed and she was still writing her vows.
Yes,
and I was like,
yeah.
babe, come to bed, because the lights were still on. I'm like, it's the night before our wedding, and I'm a very anxious like person when it comes to getting enough sleep. Like if
I hear that.
I can't fall asleep with like, okay, if I fall asleep now, I'll get 6 hours of sleep. Like I'll take a Benadryl or something to knock myself out. Like honestly, like I
Yeah.
know I shouldn't be admitting to drugging myself, but I'm just like, I need a Benny to hit the hay,
Get that
because
Benny.
it's like if I
Yeah.
don't fall asleep right now, I'll have a panic attack. I just for some reason functioning on less than 6 hours of sleep, and
Yeah.
6 is little. Like
Yeah.
I will just freak out.
And we woke up early because we were trying to get in the beach, and the beach, like,
Yeah.
it was close enough, but it wasn't down the
But
street.
like, how silly of me to think that on my wedding day
You'd get
I'd be
sleep?
tired.
Right.
One, that I would get sleep, and that two, I would actually be tired. Like I could have probably pulled an all-nighter and still been like,
You have so much adrenaline.
Yes.
I
Yeah.
literally had adrenaline like 2 days following.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
I still was like running on so much adrenaline.
yeah.
It was crazy.
Yeah, it
Like-
definitely wasn't until we got home where I was finally like,
Like I felt like I could like, I mean, not really, but I was like, I could probably go like run miles right now, but no.
I could run a marathon.
I was thinking that. I was like,
No.
no, actually, Erin, you haven't worked out like in ever. So,
not running a marathon today.
No.
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 but you just like feel so like jacked up.
Yes.
Like
yeah.
I couldn't, like when we took a few days at a hotel, and I was like scanning the channels. Like I couldn't sleep. I was like, felt like I was like, it was crazy.
Yeah. I don't know.
What
we
is this?
for after ours, like I feel like most people do like an was there an after party at yours?
No.
Because we were not invited.
We, oh, actually,
Well, first of all, Erin and Rob did not come to our wedding at all, which we feel terrible about. Because
I know.
it
I
was-
think about it all the time.
because
Honestly,
we made our guest list before we even met
yeah,
you.
Yeah.
we were friends.
We had
were,
just started our
yeah.
friendship.
yeah,
You don't have to be sorry
No,
about
but
that.
it makes
No, but
me
I'm sorry for
sad
myself.
because it's like,
that you weren't there.
had we known how close we would be,
Yeah.
right,
like
I know.
later on,
Yeah.
I'd be like, yeah, you're invited. But
Yeah.
that happened, like that's happened, like, you know, when I was working at my last job, I made friends there that I'm like, at the time I didn't know them that well,
Yeah.
but I knew we were friends, and it's like I'm still friends with them, and it's like I would have fucking invited them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's just like frustrating because I think even like we were like, okay, who are we inviting? At the time, we're like, so we have 10 friends,
Yeah,
and here's
yeah.
who's invited, you know. But now it's like we have all these friends that I just like wish we could have
Yeah.
been there. But
So it goes.
I'm glad that we were there to celebrate you.
I know,
That's
I'm
for
so
sure.
But we
Okay.
didn't have an after party either. Like some people lingered at the venue because like it was an Airbnb. Like people lingered, and it was getting to the point where like we were having so much fun,
Mhm.
but we were tired. Like
Yeah.
we were amped up, but we were like definitely
Time to go to
tired.
bed.
Yeah, so we were like, guys, can you please shut up? We're trying to go to
My
sleep.
best friend Alex was looking at me like, Amanda, it's your fucking wedding day. Like, because it was like there was a noise
Yeah.
ordinance. You have to be quiet about
Yeah.
it, and then we're in an Airbnb, and like I just didn't want to get in trouble with like the neighbor. I'm such a high wound person.
Really?
And- Cut the cameras. Cut the cameras. I am a very high strung person and was like,
Listen, I love you
"Guys,
for
let's
it.
be quiet." I've always been that way though. I've always been the like, let's follow the rules. And my friend Alex has always been like, bitch, shut up. Like, just shut up. So wedding planning is the worst. And multiple times I was like, we're done. We're not having the wedding anymore. It's canceled. It's over. And then we had the wedding, of course. And it was like,
It was worth it.
very much
It was
worth
great.
it. But I was so relieved the day of the wedding. I'm like, I laid in bed that night like, it's over.
Yeah.
And I never have to do it again.
Yeah.
I feel the same. Listen, weddings have turned into ridiculousness.
Ridiculousness.
Ridiculousness. I don't know if I like that word, but it's there. I felt so much pressure to like do all of these things.
Mm-hmm.
And then there came to a point, even like weeks out, I was like, oh, should we do that too? Oh, should we add that? Oh, should we? And I'm like, what the hell am I doing to myself? This is so, like, this is silly.
Yeah.
I don't need to
I
be,
literally felt the same
like,
way.
you know how they say, like, you come to a point where you're just like, fuck it. You start spending all this money.
Yeah.
That we were doing that. Like, it was just like, we had all these things to pay for.
Yep.
And so it, like, you kind of get to a point where you're like, what am I actually doing?
Yeah.
Like, you kind of like go outside yourself and you're like, don't even I didn't even like recognize myself in that period because it was like, I was ordering all these clothes for like a second outfit. I was trying to like figure out like what I wanted to do there. And then just like, yeah, it's like, and then all these people are messaging and texting you and emailing you. Oh, what's the dress code? Oh, is there parking? Oh,
Mikey's pleading the fifth right now. Hardcore.
Yeah. The messages, it's too much.
It's like, have
It's too
you
much.
all never been to a wedding before? 1 and 2, have you all not? There are some people who have had their own wedding before who are still asking ridiculous things.
But also,
imagine getting a text. I want people, when you go to a wedding, if you have been married before, what? Okay, if someone sends you a text, like, try to put yourself, okay, on my wedding day, if I received this message, would I want to fucking punch this person in the uterus? Or prostate, whichever one they have. Like, if you got that message, would you be like, you're uninvited?
Yeah.
What? So then pick now come back to yourself and say, should I hit send on this message?
Truly. Especially because in this day and age, we all have wedding websites with extensive detail.
Mm-hmm. I worked fucking hard on my I hope,
Amanda, where should we stay? Well, the hotel page is on the website. What's your website?
Oh my God.
AmandaandMikey.com.
Amanda, what is the wedding attire?
That's
garden.
So good.
Well, what does that mean? Google it.
But I love that I did
good.
text you though. I said, Erin, what is black tie boho?
Respectfully, I had never heard of black tie boho
But
before.
in my defense, that was like, I had told y'all, like, that was like my like theme. I get it. I didn't mind texts from certain people. I'll be like, I had told you all that. I was like, I don't care if you guys text me.
Yeah.
But they were like other questions that were coming in, and from like, I think like my parents too. They just like never filled themselves in from emails I was sending them.
Right.
I'm like, do boomers not use email anymore? No, really.
No,
I'm
they're like Dolly Parton, where apparently she can only be reached by fax machine.
I saw that.
Wait,
both
what?
Miley Cyrus and Reba over the last like couple years have said that Dolly only communicates through fax, and that she will tell her assistant what to say, and her assistant will text it. But like, if you want to get a message to her on a day where her assistant is not with her, you have to send it through fax machine.
She doesn't use a phone?
She only has a flip phone. And
I mean, I aspire to be that way. Honestly, I wish I didn't have to check my email. I wish I didn't have social media.
Who else could do that? The president?
nobody else.
Not even. She's the only
I
one.
know. That is wild.
Wild. I mean,
Fax machine?
fax.
Why do you even want to use a fax? What is that?
I genuinely know what it is.
I think I've used a fax machine twice in my life, and
I've never used
struggled for many minutes on how to get it across.
Yeah.
I actually probably sent it over to like Putin by accident. Like, he's like getting my I'm like, beep boop, beep 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 boop, typing in a number that's way too long. It's like going over to a Scandinavia or
So
something.
when I used to work in a hospital, and every time we had to fax things all the time, And it was like a big deal if you sent it to like the wrong number.
Mhm.
So you had to be so careful sending faxes. And every time I had to send a fax, I was like shitting myself. Because I remember in orientation, they'd be like, they made it such a big deal, like, don't fax it to the wrong person. This is private health information. And I'd be like,
Well, how about we just don't fax things
yeah,
anymore?
thank you.
Right.
Thank you. Let's get rid of faxing. So Dolly,
Dolly.
I'll send you the article.
but why don't you just come on into the
I mean, if
What
you
are we in the
have the
century?
flip
Century?
phone,
Come into the 20th century. I mean,
if you
So
have
bad.
the flip phone, how hard is it to just flip it open when it
yeah,
rings?
why don't you use
Yeah.
it, Dolly?
I don't know. We need
Gosh,
to have
she's
her
so
on,
progressive in so many areas.
yeah.
but not technology.
Mm-mm.
No.
Interesting.
But, it's like almost in a way, I wish that we were only reachable by fax if people had wedding questions. If your question is that important, you'll find a
Yeah.
way to
Yeah,
fax
exactly.
it.
Yep.
Fax me if you want to reach me.
Right. Call me, beat me, fax me, beat me if you want to reach me.
Exactly.
Yeah, so it's
Kim Possible.
the whole wedding planning situation. And then it's like, you feel obligated to have family members, but then it's like there are some family members you're like, I really don't care if they come or not, low key. But it's like now you feel,
extended.
yeah, like second cousins. It's just like, I don't, I'm sorry, I don't, like, you being there or not does not make a difference to me. And then it's like, okay, suddenly more of my mom's friends are in attendance than my own friends. And I know it's my fault
Oh,
because
boy.
I only have 10 friends, but like, you know what I mean?
When
It's just
one
like,
whole table is your
Wait,
mom's
is
friends.
it 10 friends between both of y'all? Or
Yeah, we have
10
the same friends.
each?
Yeah, for the
my
most
friends
part.
are her friends. I mean, really.
There's like maybe a difference of one or
Any-
two, but yeah.
Any friend that one of us makes soon becomes the other's
Mhm.
friend. It's
Yeah.
just maybe that's like codependency, and we can unpack
I think
that.
it's just
but
because we're both women.
Yeah.
Like I think that
Yeah.
does really have
Yeah.
more to do with it than anything. Is that like we're just friendly people,
yeah.
and like why would we hang out?
Yeah, it would be weird if it was like, oh, Rob is Mikey's friend and you're
I
my
was
friend,
gonna
and
ask,
that's it.
do you
It's
have
like,
any friends that like one of you hangs out with?
I mean, and that we have like
Yeah.
like
you
I have
people
work
from work.
friends that it's
Right.
like have never met Mikey
Yeah.
before
Yeah.
or whatever, but
Yeah.
even then it's like Frankie Resto. Shout out Frankie Resto. He's a Spotify listener.
Like we
Oh,
go
like-
over and have like double dates with them. Like
Yeah, it just
Yeah.
kind of merges into one thing.
Mhm.
But there are friends that are it's like, probably, I mean, even Katie's friends with both of us or
Yeah.
Rachel, but it's just like
yeah.
they're your friends more than mine.
Right.
But it's
Yeah,
like we
yes,
all
that's
can
more-
meet up and we
yeah.
can all
Yeah.
talk and be friendly
Yeah.
together.
That's
but
definitely more what it is. Like we have friends that we only one of us will text for the most part.
Mhm.
But when it comes to like hanging out, it's usually they'll
Right.
come
You're
here,
not
we'll go
texting
there.
Frankie
Yeah.
Resto, I am, but
Yeah.
like we have no problem hanging out with
Yeah.
That's a pretty strong name, Frankie Resto.
Francisco Resto.
Oh, Italian.
Okay, Frank. I'm so glad we sat down to do this because I've been traveling so much and literally have had like no days off. I'm actually heading up to Connecticut again tonight when we're done here.
What part of Connecticut?
The Hartford area,
Mm.
all of the Hartford. Everyone knows I work in college admissions. So all the Hartford public schools are having college fairs. And so that's what I'll have to do. But I'm bringing this up because I try to find ways when I'm on the road I was there Monday through Friday last week. I'll be there Sunday through Friday this week. But I went to go get myself a pedicure this week.
Mm.
And it did not go so great. I mean, free foot content
God.
for the YouTube viewers. Like my toes are painted.
Please,
But-
for the Patreon.
So first of all, they really needed love because
Mhm.
one foot, not to be gross, but was like the heel was like peeling like badly. Like
Not to be gross, but let me
Like,
describe
it was
in
like a-
detail.
no, it was like
Yeah,
a layer
tell me.
of
Like
skin.
peeling.
Like
Tell me about your
I guess because it was
calluses.
like a callus and it
Yeah.
was like coming. So I'm like, why is it just this one foot? Like, do I have athlete's foot on this right foot and not the left?
Mm.
Like, they live in the same environment, my feet. You know what I mean? So it's like, what happened that this one foot is peeling in this manner and the
They're
other's not?
neighbors, not they don't really.
Are they dry?
They're sisters, not twins, or whatever
Yeah.
it is. But I'm like, I have the same shoe.
I mean,
you
it's
know,
two different shoes.
I guess.
One shoe's got the athlete's foot.
I don't know what it was. So anyway, I went to this nail salon, and it was like you had to walk into a Marshall's to take the elevator in the Marshalls up to like the third floor of the building. And already I knew. I'm like,
First of all, with all due respect to Marshalls, no.
no, it was just like, it was weird. It was like an office building and the Marshalls was on the first floor. But in order to access this nail salon, you had to go to
so
the
it's
third
like
floor.
a mall of sorts.
A mall of sorts. But
You just got to go up a couple
so I
flights.
go up and then I
I've
finally
never heard anyone
find
reference
the-
Marshalls as a mall, but go ahead.
Anyway, it's hard to describe. So then I go in and I sit down and it literally has like 3 chairs. And it's like a tiny, like, you know, when you went to go get laser and it was like each room was its own person, its own company.
Yes.
You know what I mean? It's like, oh, this woman did brows and this
Yes.
woman does like, okay, so that was that. It was like every room had its own specialty. So I'm at this girl's like nail salon and I get the callus removed. I'm like, I need you to hit me up with the biggest
that.
spa.
Yeah.
Like, I need you to go in on these feet,
Yeah.
on these hooves.
Yeah.
So she put.
I need the Parmesan
so I-
grater out here.
Oh yes. So I get like the hot towels, the lavender.
Lovely. Yeah.
She puts on the callus lotion and then wraps it in plastic.
Love.
But I start to notice. Well, she's doing the right foot first, the problematic one, and she breaks out the cheese grater. And like they say, it's bad for you to do that.
Why?
I don't know. They just say it can really injure your foot.
Oh.
Clearly.
Well,
But I'm like, yo,
Here we
a
go.
pumice is not going to work for me. Like, it's beyond pumice at this point.
Oh
It's
my
like,
God.
hit me with the fucking cheese grater.
Mhm.
So she's going like doing that. But this one is still sitting with the callus lotion on, right? So it's like suddenly the side of my foot is itching.
Oh no.
And I thought maybe it's just the plastic, the saran wrap that's itching
Here we
my
go.
foot. And then it just starts getting very irritated. Like it's like an internal itch. It's like bothering me. So I kept itching it. And I'm like, sorry, it's just itchy. So then finally she's done with this foot and she takes the plastic off and she's scrub, or, grating. And then she puts it in the water. And I'm like trying to rub with my other foot because it's like irritated, right? And so I'm like trying to rub it in the water, calm it down. I take out my foot and it's got blisters
Oh my gosh.
along the side. I got a chemical burn from the callus lotion because it
Holy
was on
shit.
too long on like a part of my foot that like the skin was not dead. So now it's all scabbed up and shit. But like that happens. And then I'm like sitting there like, do you have Neosporin? Like, do you have whatever? So anyway, I'm not going to freak out on them because it's like shit happens. I don't think
Yeah.
she realized whatever. But I look at my phone. It took 2 hours. This pedicure.
To get a chemical burn.
I was supposed to go meet up with friends for lunch before an event. I was like, "Oh, I'll see you guys in 45 minutes." I'm not getting a manicure. I'm not getting my brows done, although I need to. Like, I'm literally just getting a pedicure, right?
What took so long?
2
The burn.
hours. I'm like, I understand you're doing the rocks, the hot rocks and everything, but it's just like, how did that add that much time? Anyway, that's sort of kind of one of my complaints this week is like, if you're in the West Hartford area, I'm sorry to Shanti's Beautiful Nails.
Not the shout out. Not the
Oh.
negative shout out.
Yeah, don't go
Well,
there.
if you're gonna get a chemical burn, that's not good.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it wasn't. I mean, thankfully it healed okay. I was afraid that I was going to have to like end up in the hospital or something.
But a pedicure shouldn't take 2 hours.
2
End up in the
hours. I
hospital.
felt like I
That's a
was in
long
like
time.
one of those like time warps or something. Like I enter this room, it doesn't have windows, and suddenly 2 hours has gone by.
Remember when you went to the hospital because a squirrel nibbled and didn't even break the skin on your
What
finger?
does this have to do with
And because it has everything to do.
no?
You said
How did a squirrel get that close to you?
'Cause I
That's a
was
great
feeding
question.
it a nut.
she was feeding the squirrel
We
in
were in
Central
Central
Park,
Park.
which you're literally told not to do.
It looked hungry.
Like, this is just a
It looked
PSA.
hungry and curious.
This is a PSA to those of you in New York who've not heard this, and those of you who one day will visit here. Don't feed the squirrels. Don't feed the squirrels. She was feeding the squirrel a Nuts for Nut, which is a sugar-coated
I'm
nut.
dying.
And the squirrel was excited and misguided where he was biting.
So where did he nibble?
He nibbled her finger.
and it started bleeding.
It did not
Oh.
bleed.
It did.
It did not bite.
Yes, it did bug because I shoved my finger. Your father will remember. I shoved my finger into the ice to get it to stop bleeding.
Well, if it broke the skin, it was the smallest skin
Were
break.
you up to date? Were you up
what are you up to date on your vaccinations?
Yeah, where were you up to date on your what's it? Your
It's your
rabies booster?
Yeah.
So first of all, we did extensive research, and everything online says that squirrels don't get rabies because if they do get rabies, they basically die right away because they're so small that it's
And
not
also too, it's like unless it goes out of its way,
right unless
to
it's
attack
angry
you,
and attacking you because it has rabies.
it's just a squirrel.
Right, it was just a normal squirrel. It was a squirrel who came up to her to eat the nut, but accidentally tried to eat her finger.
Well, because
It wasn't attacking her.
wasn't attacking. It just I don't think they have like a spatial awareness.
Yeah.
So it's like he thought he was biting the nut, but like he just went too far down and bit my fingertip.
Exactly. Yeah.
There's video footage, so that'll be for the Patreon.
But I went to Mount Sinai up the street and was like,
They're pretty good.
I was like, I need an
Squirrel
update.
bit me.
And like the nurse or whatever is like, I mean, was it foaming at the mouth? Was it going out of its way? I was like, no, I was just trying to give it a nut and it misjudged. They're like, well, we'll give you a booster anyway, but I think you're all right. I don't know. Me, I'm just like, shoot me up, boss. Like whatever like shot I can get to prevent myself from getting rabies, just hit
don't
me
want
with
rabies.
it. Like I don't want tetanus, same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God. Well, this can go into the I hate me I hate me. Oh, that was a self-conscious slip up there.
Freudian slip.
Freudian slip. No, I hate that segment because if there was anything that made me feel like I was going to get tetanus, rabies, and all other
It was last
venereal
night.
diseases, it was the chairs in the movie theater last night.
Oh.
So if there's anything I hate, it's that. So yes, Erin, now we have reached the I hate that segment, which you might be familiar with. Maybe not. It's okay. But
Yeah, I know.
Imagine Erin doesn't even listen to the podcast.
I'm a long-time listener.
a long time, first time caller.
Yeah, first-time caller.
So yes, I hate that. We'll dive right in.
Okay.
I hate everything that was my experience last night at the Eras Tour concert movie. Folks, here's one thing about me. We've established I'm tightly wound. When I go to a movie, I hate going to the theater these days because people do not know how to behave.
That's true.
It's like there's no couth in their behavior. There's no decorum because it's like you're in a movie. It costs $82 for a ticket these days.
And $50 for a popcorn.
And you're paying this money to come and sit in this theater to dick off. Like literally talk, laugh, text, fart. Like just shut up. Just sit there and watch the film, right? How hard is that? If you know that your attention span cannot allow you to do that, watch it when it comes out on streaming.
Which will literally be 2 weeks later.
You are
in this day and age.
a public place and you're coming to be the most obnoxious person. Right. Okay. So now I go to a movie last night, the Eras Tour, that is purposely designed for enjoyment and fun and not your typical movie behavior.
Yep.
AMC put out a statement saying, we want you to stand up, we want you to sing, we want you to dance. Just don't do it on the furniture, but dance, enjoy yourself, be respectful of others, right? Video came out of Taylor Swift at her premiere, dancing to her own concert. The tone has been set. This is a fun-filled event. Treat it like a concert. Mikey and I show up
After we showed up after all day watching
clips online of
Yes.
people having fun in their theater. We're like, oh my God, yes, this is what we can look forward to. We show up to the AMC in the Upper East Side, like 95th or whatever, right?
Mistake number one.
Because that theater, it is like if chlamydia was a movie theater.
Oh my God.
That's what.
First of all,
can't even. I don't even know where to start.
No exaggeration. This is where we're going to start. We get to our theater, and there were 8 employees who walked in to clean it. 8 employees, including a leaf blower.
A leaf blower. I will say this. The fans that are going to this event, yes, dance, yes, have a good time, go up to the screen. I don't care, right? Like, if people are still going to sit down in the midst of people standing up and whatnot, like, that's your prerogative. You can choose to sit down, but you know the vibe that you're going into. But don't throw your popcorn everywhere.
Yeah,
and
be a
don't make a
decent human.
mess. Like, these people have to work here and clean up after you, and that's really just not respectful. But you walk in, it's a multi-level movie theater. So you walk in, you buy your concessions, whatever. Then we're looking right next to the concession stand is one of the 8 theaters in there that are showing the Eras tour. That's probably the only movie they were showing that day. Yep. And you just hear everyone, sing, screaming, like enchanted, like, this night is spark. Like, and we open the door, or we're like, let's just sneak in. Let's just, it's a 7:30 showing, the one before us. So like, let's just see. Open the doors, concert. Like people standing, people swaying, people
dressed up,
whatever.
Trading,
so I'm
literally
like,
kids trading bracelets in the front.
So I'm like, oh my God, guys, like that, I'm like looking at Mikey, I'm like, this is gonna be so lit, whatever. So it was like at the red section of the Eras tour, the red songs. So we're like 22, and then All Too Well came on, and everyone's like, fuck the patriarchy.
Oh, the best.
Like, everyone's like screaming, having a good time. I'm like, oh, I'm so ready. Like, oh, we're going to
expectations are high.
Right,
Truly.
Right.
Yes.
But the theater itself was so dirty. Like, even the women's bathroom, there was a stall that like had piss just all over the floor. I'm like, what? Like, the seats, when we walked into our theater, multiple of them had goo. I don't know if it was like dried up gum. I don't know if it was like melted milk duds or dookie splatter or what.
Gosh.
But it was like, this is literally like a bed bug condominium. Like, it was like, I felt like there was going to be bed bugs. I felt like if you sat down too long, you're going to get a freaking infection.
Well, it was also the kind of seat where, like, when you sat down,
they were like
you
broken.
You like fell back and sank.
Yeah,
into
like
the
Mikey was
seat.
basically like ready for liftoff in a space shuttle. She was like so reclined. I'm like, huh? And like there's just like jagged parts of the seat. I'm like, talk about tetanus. Like, literally, it was just, and I'm like, so perfect. So like, it doesn't even matter that these seats are nasty because everyone's gonna be up and dancing. So I'm not even gonna really have to sit at all anyway. Tell me how we're the only showing that I have seen, the only showing that whole night in that theater where everyone was crickets. And I posted in my own personal story, but it was like the juxtaposition of the 7:30 showing to ours, where everyone was sitting. I think people stood for maybe one song, and people were just sitting there. And I'm just like, you guys, like, what is going on? And then these 2 men come in. I think they're a gay couple or what, but they're like the most like Harlem, New York guys, And so the guy's like, yes, Taylor. Yes, mommy. Yes, Taylor. Oh, beautiful. Oh, like catcalling her through the screen. And I'm like, this vibe is just so off. And I looked at Mikey and I'm like, if they don't start dancing, like by the end of this segment, this part of the tour, I'm going home. So it was the red segment again. We finally got to that part. So during 22, like before the second chorus, I literally shout, come on, everyone! Like, hoping.
Trying to get the whole.
Maybe they were waiting for permission. No.
Maybe they were.
Nope.
No.
Nope.
Nothing. Crickets.
Well, there was a bit of a red flag because when we got there and we were waiting for them to finish cleaning, the 8 people to finish cleaning this theater, this group of like 3, maybe 4 girls walked up, and one of them goes, yeah, I don't really know any of her new albums.
Oh.
And I said,
I looked at Mikey and like, here we go.
I said, here we go.
got some.
Well, her one friend that had merch on was like, well, this is going to be interesting for you guys. You know what I mean? But it's just like, I just don't understand how you can be a Taylor Swift fan and feel not feel compelled to like enjoy yourself. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's
Yeah.
like any other time I would have applauded those people for being like, yes, thank you for being normal, polite moviegoers. But of all movies,
Yeah.
this is not the one to be on mute about.
It's
Like-
also it's really so interesting though, because there was an older couple, like grandparent age, like a couple that came and watched. And obviously they're not going to get up and dance. I mean, maybe they would, but they didn't, which is fine. But every other person there
Right, was
was
all
a
right.
fan wearing merch from the concert.
Right.
So it's like you are a fan who clearly went to the show
Mm-hmm.
and you're now coming to see the movie, but you're not going to like, why not just watch it when it comes out on streaming then? You know, it's like, and we weren't even in merch, but we were the ones up and dancing, you know, it's
Do you
just,
think if it was more crowded, other people would have been dancing?
that's definitely what I think.
I just think like,
Because there were,
I mean, I don't think it matters, but
it definitely shouldn't matter,
Yeah.
but there were only like maximum 30 people in that theater.
yeah,
Max.
I just think because Taylor being the capitalist girly that she is and knowing how to make as much money as physically possible, she like moved the release date up by a day.
Mhm.
So it's like instead of us seeing it the day after it comes out, it's now been 2 days since it came out. I think people were seeing it midday and like
It was 9:30 on a Saturday.
right, like
that
we would have
yeah,
seen it earlier, but Mikey was supposed to have a photo gig, but because it has rained
every day.
6 Saturdays in a row. I shit you not, literally the last 6 Saturdays here in New York. And then I think weekends altogether, it's been like 13 out of the last 16 weekends in New York. It's rained.
ugh, I'm sick of it.
So it's like,
But yeah, we
Yeah.
we booked like the latest showing because it was going to be after my shoot, but then my shoot moved to Friday.
right.
And so I tried calling the theater to see if we could basically just transition our ticket to an earlier time, and no one picked up. I
Right.
tried calling like corporate AMC to see if that was allowed. No one picked up. They're like, you can message us on Facebook or X, Twitter. And of course, it's robots manning those accounts, so they're not understanding my request. It's like, why can't I get someone on the phone?
I hate. Another thing I hate is like,
X?
no, is
Yes.
like, yes,
Yes.
X, but like when you need help, like if technology, if AI are going to take jobs from people, like customer service things, like at least program to them to do it correctly or to understand more complex sentences, because it's just like, how is it that I am calling a corporation that's worth millions of dollars, billions of dollars, and not one human is available to take my call?
Yeah, that's pretty wild.
Not one. So anyway, it was just a very disappointing experience, I think. And Mike and I were saying, like, what if we had not gotten tickets to the Eras tour? And this was our first time seeing it, our way of feeling like we're there.
Yeah, what
And
if we
that's-
dressed up and made friendship bracelets and,
And
we're
that's
excited?
the crowd that we were met with. Pig is being such a love bug right now with you.
Oh, look at his eyes.
You guys on
Sweet
YouTube,
angel.
go look. He's literally like resting on her chest and like in love with her.
Oh.
But yeah, so that was my I hate that, because it just felt very disappointing as a fan whose hopes were gotten, you know, like my hopes were high. The theater
Yeah.
was posting about how people should be involved, and then we're met with like people literally like in a morgue.
Yeah.
Like rigor mortis was present in their bodies. I was like, are you all, maybe it was they wanted to stand up, but those seats were so broken that it's like they're like,
I mean-
it's gonna take 30 minutes to stand up out of this fucking recline seat.
But genuinely, that's part of the reason why I didn't keep standing up, because like I was in that seat. I was so deep in that seat that like
Ugh.
to stand up would have
I
been an
literally
ordeal.
was
Were
actually
they recline seats?
No!
They were not nice seats.
they were
Oh.
terrible
It's
seats.
just that it's almost as though a child had consistently bounced on it.
Oh, gosh.
So they were like just collapsed. Like when you sat,
I
you
know what you're
collapsed.
talking about.
I
I know what you're
genuinely
talking about.
was so afraid of those seats that when we came home, I made us take our clothes off and put them in a garbage bag. Because I was
Be
afraid
washed.
that there was legitimate bed bugs. Like, I'm serious. Like, and then I put them in the wash this morning on like high heat because I was just like, I can't. We've had bed bugs once before years ago, and I'm
Yeah, we're not going
traumatized.
back.
And I'm like, I'm
Oh,
never
gosh.
risking that again. But that's for another fucking podcast episode. But
I'm sure that could take up a lot of time.
so we'll move on to our guest.
Oh, okay.
What do you want to say I hate that about?
What do you hate?
I hate. Gosh. There's so many things.
Yeah.
This could be anything in like daily life.
Yeah, that's happened to you recently, or wedding wise, or just anything really.
Well, wedding wise, I think something that I really hated was, I think this is different for a heterosexual couple.
Mm-hmm.
But every single like time we were out or like people saw us like for the first time in a while, all the wedding questions would be directed toward me as the woman. And Rob was just kind of seen as like, I don't know,
He's
an
there.
accessory.
Yeah.
Like he's not expected to be involved.
To know anything.
And I literally would tell people, oh, well, you can ask him too. So that is definitely something that I got pretty sick. And, you know, for like older folks or like older family members, like part of me like understood because that's kind of like what it is, like kind of where they were. So it's like, I get that. But at the same time, it was like every time it just drove me nuts.
Yeah.
I was like, if one more person asks me an update,
Right.
I'm going to go crazy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I basically planned most of the wedding.
You're like, you know, you can ask him. He won't know the answer.
Any of the answers,
but
but
at
we
least
asked.
you're asking
Sometimes
him.
I would say, do you know, if I asked you this question, would you know? And he'd be like, well, I can look at the spreadsheet.
I mean, okay.
At least he knew there was a
At
spreadsheet.
least he knows there's a spreadsheet and how to access it. That's a step.
Yeah. Well, I thought it's interesting to see how our generation is shifting with wedding culture.
Yeah.
Because the last two weddings we were at, there was no, I mean, the last wedding we were at was a gay wedding, so I don't know that there would be a bouquet toss. But, like, even at your wedding, there wasn't, like, a bouquet toss. There wasn't a garter thing. There, you know, like, it really seems like we're taking these, like, traditional, like, my mom wanted us to do, like, a money dance where it's, like, you go in the middle and, like, people throw $1. And I'm like, you know, no shade to the people who do that.
Yeah.
But it's just, like, I'm not, like, that's literally, like, it's giving, like, strip club vibes. Like, oh, I'm going to go and dance to hope you all throw dollar bills at us. Like, it just felt like that's not our vibe. And so I just feel like there's these, like, traditional, like, stereotypical wedding things like the bouquet and the garter, which we didn't do, where it's just, like, we're stepping away from that, which I like.
Me too.
Because every time I've been to a wedding and there's, like, the garter toss, it's, like, it's just giving, like, why and inappropriate.
I always feel like one of the two of them is always uncomfortable. You know?
Or, like, the guy makes it super sexual,
It's
you know?
all-
It makes, I'm like, why are you, like, cunnilingus-ing on the floor?
It's also like, part of it is like, do your guests want to sit through all of this?
Right.
And I think Rob and I really kind of took into account like what our guests want. And like, and a lot of people are like, it's your day. It's your day and do what you want.
If only they meant that.
But it's like, yeah, okay, it is my day and I will do what I want. But also, I am inviting all of these people. And I do care if they have a good time or not.
Right.
It's not just about me.
Well, but and also, speaking specifically to the bouquet and garter toss, that's literally for them. That has nothing to, why would we do, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's
It's
literally
just, like, an activity for them to do.
It's an activity for them to do. It's like a prediction of who's getting married next, you know? So it's like, what does that have anything to do with me? Why would I do that for myself?
Right.
You know?
Yeah, the when the venue kind of like asked us, okay, are you going to do any of these? I was like, no.
Literally when our DJ was like asking which activities we're doing for like, so he knows what to MC or not.
Yeah.
Literally
almost everything.
We didn't say yes to anything.
Yeah.
I was like, this is not going to be like your traditional wedding. Like, it's literally just a celebration. Like, you're going to show up, make the announcement of the vows, and then get everyone on the dance floor. Like, that's it, you know?
Yeah.
So
I think that it's very much like, I feel like we're seeing kind of this like back and forth though, where what I like is that I feel like I'm seeing a lot more weddings that are doing very like intimate little details. Like I feel like how your mom baked the cookies, you know, and like how she brought around like the mason jars at the end for like people to like take some of the flower arrangements and stuff. Like there were a lot of like little things that specifically in your wedding that I loved that were not even necessarily things that someone should try and take for themselves, because it's like it was so specific to you and your family that like that is what I like. Like I like when people make it completely their own and it is special just for them. But then I feel like on the flip side, you have people who were like, what is the trend right now? How can I make sure I'm on trend? How can I make sure that this essentially will go viral on TikTok? You know?
So that I think is something that I can say I hate.
Yeah.
I think in the beginning of wedding planning, I got so into like, let me look at like what kind of like scheme we might want or whatever. And then I like kind of, I had that in my head. I was like, okay, great. But then, it was like fun to look on like Pinterest or TikTok. But then you can really get into the rhythm of like going on TikTok and just like scrolling, and it's in your algorithm. Whoa. Okay.
I was like, she just shut down.
McConnell?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Ooh.
Dark. Sorry.
Yeah. No, it's okay. But yeah, it's like, what's going on there? I was going to say algorithm. Algorithm.
And it's in your agriculture.
It's in the agriculture. And before you know it, it's like, here are the 2023 trends for brides. And it's like, what are we doing? Like everyone is putting so much pressure on themselves to like have matchbooks at their wedding, or the last dance as bride and groom just alone, or all these like, and then they're like, these are my predictions for 2024. And it's like, what are we doing to everybody? All this pressure. Like finally I was like, I can't be on TikTok anymore to look at all of these things, because I'm going to drive myself nuts to do all
that
of it.
for us to look back at photos in 40 years and be like, damn, our wedding looks 40 years ago.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
like when you look back at like 2007 through 10 wedding trends, ugly.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Ugly,
The teal,
like
the
the
teal.
Teal, the big
most-
bows.
Pays like the most repulsive wedding vibes
Yeah,
that you
it's
can
really
think
bad.
of. And you're
The
like,
rainbow.
Yeah.
People would do
Yeah.
a lot of rainbow shit.
and it's like, oh, that was the trend. But
Yeah.
you look back and it's so bad.
Yeah.
So bad.
I
And it's
know.
just like, I don't care about trends, because it's exactly what it is a trend.
Yeah.
And it's not going to be good and cute
champagne
forever.
Tower, which
Or like,
might be a classic, but
or
still.
like a donut wall. I've seen
Oh
so
my
many
God.
donut walls. Or,
Jesus.
don't pick a side, pick a seed, or something like that. You know what I mean?
I just
And it's
think, again,
like-
I think that really when it comes down to it, like, it's about, like, you kind of just want bare bones and then things that are special to you.
right.
You know, it's like, it's like, and again, I feel like your wedding really did a good job of that. Like, your colors were, like, black and white. Like, it wasn't, like, you didn't have any, like, super trendy, crazy colors.
Which is literally
No.
timeless.
Which exactly. And it was just, like, nice. Like, it was literally, your theme was nice.
Right.
The theme was, like, classy.
Yeah.
Nice, classy.
That's what I wanted.
It's just like you don't need and also too, it's like we had like a sign or two, but I think
Yeah.
when people try to make a sign for every single thing, you know
Yeah.
what I mean? It's just
Mhm.
like, I think people know how a wedding works. You know
Yeah.
what I
Yeah.
mean? Like they'll find their way around.
Yeah, I think the main
What-
thing.
Oh, sorry. Go
Oh,
ahead.
go.
I was
No.
gonna say what I love that you did was your little name placements
Oh,
thing, like
yes.
place setting.
I did get that off of TikTok. That idea.
Well,
which
no,
I-
but it was great
yeah.
because I had not seen that at a wedding before.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
like literally,
And you hadn't
like,
mentioned that you were doing it. Like when we walked
it was
in,
such a cute surprise.
I think we were one of the first people to see it because we like walked straight into the
Oh, okay.
the room, and then we like we were the
We were
first
just wanted
table,
to
so
put
we
our
immediately
stuff
saw
down,
our
yeah.
table. No, but I just loved it. Like it really, like as soon as I saw it, I was like, oh my god, this is first of all so you. Like I feel like it was just like so sweet and
So
thoughtful,
sweet.
and the fact
Yeah.
that you, I mean, I can only imagine that took you millennia to do.
Yeah, it was a long time.
That was like a labor of love. For
Rob was
sure.
not happy about that, but I insisted.
I mean,
I was like, just
was a great
think
touch.
everyone's faces. They'll love it.
we did.
He's
Our
like,
table loved it.
Are we sure that we want to do this? I was like, yes, for sure.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
For sure.
Get with it, because yes.
Get with the program.
Well, that was definitely like, I am notorious for thinking I want to do something and then low-key regretting it once I start the project. And that was very much like what was happening with the wedding. Like I had so many things that I wanted to like DIY, which in part was because of like cost cutting. Like I was trying to be smart with money, but a lot of it was because like I do like being crafty. Like I literally hand sewed our flower girl and ring bearers outfits from scratch,
That's amazing.
which I like looking back.
Not a lot of people can say that.
Well, yeah, like I love that I did
I
it,
didn't realize that you did that.
but it's ridiculous. Like it's ridiculous. Why did I think that that was necessary? I like hand sewed like tote bags and like stuffed animals for them.
There were so many things where I was just like, babe, like, this can be bought. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, she's very much like anything to save $1, which like...
It wasn't exclusively that,
It wasn't that. You know, you want the personalized touches, but like Mikey would rather do something to save money than just... So it's like her and I are very opposite in that way, which I think is good because we balance each other, because sometimes I'm like, babe, just give it up and just fucking buy it. You know what I mean?
Well, like our signs, like I think that the signs are a good example though, where like the suit, like the flower girl and the ring bearer outfits, that was more just, I was really into sewing at the time. And so that was more like I had a vision, and even if I wanted to spend money, I could not find what I was looking for. But with the signs, like that was another thing where I wasn't exactly finding what I wanted. Like if I really looked hard enough, I probably could find one that I liked, but they were really expensive. And I was like, this is easy. I'll just go to Home Depot. I'll just get a slab of wood, and then I'll use my friend's Cricut. Well,
just a slab of wood.
Just a slab of wood, which first of all, that was an ordeal in itself.
It took forever to find the correct slab of wood.
And then they couldn't cut the wood because, of course, in the city, every store is not a normal store. The Home Depot I went to was not a normal Home Depot that can cut wood for you. What is the point of a Home Depot if they can't cut wood?
They don't cut the wood there?
They don't cut the wood at this Home Depot. And then my friends, Steph and Parker, God bless them, they were a lifesaver at their wedding for a number of reasons. But it was their Cricut that I used to like do the lettering. And they had never, I mean, they'd used their Cricut, but like not extensively. So they weren't fully aware of like exactly how to do it. So I was basically learning the Cricut from scratch. And like, that's why the sign that's right there is like, you see how it kind of looks too wide? Like it goes all the way to the edge. It does, like, it's not correct. Like I did that. And then for the table placements, like the guest seating, I figured it out. And it was like the smallest letters. I was hand peeling things. I mean, I was doing math and like Pythagorean theorem. Like literally it was outrageous.
I had to go behind your head to be like, she's crazy. I also like can't really see Erin.
I know, and I keep looking.
The bill of your hat is like cutting her face. Like
I know, and I keep looking back.
I do love a good hat. You have a good hat collection.
Thank you. This is shout out Marcy's Diner. We love Marcy's Diner.
Oh yes, Marcy's Diner. Not a sponsored post, a sponsored ad, but we just love them, Portland, Maine.
But you could be a sponsor if you wanted to.
That's where we went for breakfast. We got engaged that morning and then went straight from our engagement to Marcy's.
And we've been back multiple times.
And we love them.
Love them so much.
So shout out Marcy's. Yeah. But yeah, no, ultimately it's like the pressure that we put on ourselves for weddings and like keeping up with wedding culture is too much.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, that was a very, I hope, cathartic moment for you.
It was, thank you.
And I hate that.
Love that I have the space to do so.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So
and
glad.
babe, what is your I hate that this week?
So I guess I'll keep with the wedding trend, sort of.
Sure.
Yours wasn't exactly wedding, but
yeah, no, mine was just like personal grievance. But you guys are like actually staying on a proper path. And I'm like, fuck the movie theater.
The theater.
It's still very fresh.
Mine's like a negative Yelp review. And you guys are like,
yeah, you could have just taken that to Yelp, Amanda.
Sorry, I'll do better.
No.
So go ahead.
So another thing where it's like almost like advice as well, almost. With our wedding, we had seen on TikTok the trend of make sure that your maid of honor pulls your officiant out of the way before your first kiss so that your officiant is not standing behind you in your photos. And so this was something that we obsessed over. We went through it with our maid of honor. We talked about it. We wanted to make sure that this was not a problem, and then like we talked to the DJ with like the microphones and like there were so many layers to it where we really just wanted to make sure that like our officiant wasn't smacking between us during our first kiss. And sure enough,
And
it was a
again,
mess.
and again, we love Carol, but she was not used to officiating weddings where they cared about this.
Right.
So even though we told her, okay, you will move out of the way. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're going to fucking pull you by the arm and hope we don't break your hip so you get out of the way.
So what happened was
We told her when to move.
Right.
And I thought it was fine and it was understood, but she misunderstood. And
Yes.
so because she was supposed to step away, let us have our first kiss, and then step back in and I now announced to you for the first time, Amanda and Mikey Hudson.
Right.
She forgot that, I'm supposed to step away, let them kiss, and then come back and do that. So our maid of honor went to go pull her out of the way.
And she
she goes, I still have something to say.
Oh my gosh. Into the mic.
As we're doing our first kiss. So literally, if you watch the wedding footage, and we might have to like put
We'll
it
have to
into
clip
the YouTube video. But literally, I'm like, she's like, and you may now kiss or the brides may now kiss each other or something. And I'm like looking at Mikey, and she's like, it's okay. And so I like lean in to kiss her, and then I pull away, and my eyes are just sitting there. I look miserable. I look like I'm being like held hostage at this wedding.
You truly, like, I could tell that you had disappeared mentally.
Well, because
your brain had
I
gone.
knew how important it was. Mikey had talked about I can't wait to see the and then I'm just thinking about Carol in the background, her face while we're like kiss, and I'm just like, so we're doing our first kiss, and then I pull away. I literally look like I just got a fucking root canal. I'm so upset. And then Mikey's looking at me. She's like, "It's okay." and so it's in the wedding video. like you can see it all over my face, and I'm like, God damn it!
But the funny thing is that you clearly, like, so much I could tell was going on in your head. Like, I knew exactly what the problem was because I was seeing it happen as well. And like, I was trying to like, let you know, like, it's okay, it's fine. But I could see like the thoughts going in, and I could see you also being like, oh, I have to smile. So you were like, like, it's like you had plastered this smile on where you're like, everything's fine. But like in the back of your head, you're like, the photo's gonna be garbage. The photo's gonna be terrible. It's not gonna look right.
So then she says, I have one more thing to say. And then I can't do that voice without coughing. So she says, I now pronounce you, or announce to you for the first time, Amanda and Mikey, that's enough. And we walk up, and then I'm like, you know what? Fuck it. Like, we kissed multiple times walking up the aisle and then I genuinely am happy, and I look so happy and whatever. But I just hate that because it was like such a big thing to no longer have your officiant in the photos of you kissing, and like everyone's made such a big deal about it. Now I look back on our footage and I'm like, I look like I'm having the worst time.
Yeah.
But
I think that it's like a little bit of, we had known ahead of time because I had said, like, as much as I trust our photographer as a photographer, it's nice for the couple to kiss multiple times. So you always make sure you will have at least one good kissing photo, because also like you don't realize how bad kissing can look in photos, because I have taken a number of photos where I'm like, that does not look like what I thought that I took that photo. Like, that is not flattering or good.
It's also kind of awkward when you're not used to it.
Yeah.
Like when Rob and I were kissing, I was like, what do I look like right now?
Yeah. Yes.
Well, it was like sensual.
Ooh.
Right. I know.
Also too, like Mikey and I just really never have PDA in front of our family. I don't think our family would care necessarily. But it's just like, I don't know. It's like, it's just fun because I grew up with like my grandparents kissing each other. Like I grew up like showing love is fine. Yeah. But for whatever reason, maybe it's our own internalized homophobia. No,
I think it's literally just that
it's
safety more often than not,
Not that we don't feel safe in front of our family, but just like when we go out in public, we're not very like, well, like, maybe hold each other's hands or a hand, hand on the knee, but we don't really kiss in public. And also too, it's just when I see other couples do it, straight or otherwise, I'm just like, really? straight or other, but it's just like
my advice though genuinely is, when it comes to the officiant and like the first kiss, first of all, to some degree, unless your officiant is someone who's super special to you, they don't have to stand behind you.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't know really in some ways why we think that that's a necessity.
Well,
like,
where
they
else
can
would they stand?
literally just off to the side. They've got a
side.
microphone anyway.
Yeah, some people,
You know,
like,
I
there's
guess.
like,
Like,
Yeah.
your officiant can stand off to the side unless there's someone important to you, which
Yeah.
at that point, to some degree, if they're in the background of your photo,
They're important
they're
to
important
you.
to you. You
Yeah.
know, like, I think that, like, if I had just kind of like, I wish we had been a little more aware that it's not the end of the world.
Yeah.
You know, like, I think that we had just had it so ingrained in us for months. Like, everyone on
you
TikTok.
gotta get the shot.
Yeah.
It's like so important. Like,
Right,
all
exactly.
these photos.
Right.
And it's really like maybe like the moment. Wow, that was deep. But like seriously though,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
like you're like in the moment.
Right.
And like
yes.
you just like got like you
Right.
just had your ceremony in front of your
Right.
family and friends.
Yep.
It's like enjoy that moment.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's true.
Yeah.
And this is what I'm telling you. The pressure, man.
I love how it's just like, okay, this is the wedding episode, which is fine. But I just love how, again, you guys are like, wedding and advice. And I'm like, you stank ass bitches at the AMC 7.
And at the pedicure place.
Yeah.
I forgot about the
This
pedicure
is just
story.
Amanda's Yelp review.
But come on, it's like, there's got to be something that you really got to complain about. Like, did you have a bad meal this week and you hated that? No. All right. I guess I'm the only one out there living life these days.
I was just thinking about the olives that I had the other day. And they had pits in them.
I
Wasn't
hate
happy
that.
about that.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will complain about this. I'll have Rob go to the store for me.
Mm-hmm.
It's very much like a man errand,
Mhm.
Like this
And then
is-
he always fucks it up.
yeah, or says, "Oh, they didn't have it," and then I go, and I'm like, "Hey, buddy, they did actually have it.
Hey, buddy.
Did you look?
Holy shit.
Did you look in this aisle?"
Well, it's like that.
Did you look for the cheese in the cheese aisle?
I saw a Facebook post that was like, absolutely no offense, but why is it that anytime they're like, if I do Instacart
Mhm.
and I get matched with a male driver,
Yeah.
I
Mm-mm.
immediately cancel on him
Yeah,
until I get a female like Instacart person, because he will literally send like what is it, like not supplement or like substitutions, and they're like, this is so far
Yeah.
from what I'm
I
actually
actually
looking
got
for.
a gentleman once who sent me several messages about substitutions. Sweetest man ever, but I wasn't looking at my phone.
Mhm.
So he was like
So-
having a breakdown.
Oh, literally in the store was like, "Ma'am," like so sweet.
Man,
He
please
ended up-
respond,
He
man.
ended up giving me all the substitutions. Like I gave him the biggest tip ever.
Sweet.
But I was like, I've never had this experience before. It was amazing.
Aw.
But I know I saw that too. Like if you get matched with a guy,
Yeah.
forget it.
There was
Yeah.
one where it's like, I ordered 1 pound of green beans and he gave me 1 green bean in a bag. Like,
You get what?
like she ordered like the quantity was 1 green
What?
bean because it was
Oh.
1 pound of green beans, but it said 1 green bean.
happened-
So he put 1 single green. I'm sorry. in
That
theory,
is-
I understand.
That is
The
amazing.
opposite happened to
But
my
what?
mother. My mother ordered, I think she wanted like what was it was like 1 chicken, or I think she like wanted like 1 rotisserie chicken or something happened where she thought she was ordering 1 of something, but like a pound of something showed up at her door, and she's like,
God.
I have so much of this now that I'm like never going to be able to finish. And so I'm like, yeah, that is kind of confusing a little bit, but yeah, that is annoying and frustrating. Rob, get your shit together,
Yeah,
Rob. If
seriously.
you're at home listening, which you're not, you're golfing.
Always golfing.
We have to give him his pizza golf shirt that he swindled us
ordered,
into buying.
We can't include this because we don't need him to be canceled by his partnership.
Oh my God, that's right. We're outing him. So yeah, no, literally really quick. And sorry for exposing you, Rob.
This is also something I could complain about.
We'll do a mutual complaint, although I think it's more funny than anything. But he texts us.
Privately.
So Erin's husband, Rob, texts me and Mikey privately
A week before the wedding.
saying, can I ask you two for a favor? And I thought, oh, how sweet.
Wow.
This is
Finally, my time has come.
this is our first time telling you how the whole thing went down. So I'm living for this. So I thought, wow, how sweet. This man is going to ask us for a favor related to the wedding. It's going to be a surprise that Erin will not know about. And I don't know why I thought any man would think that far ahead.
Imagine
No
our
offense,
surprise.
but imagine our surprise
Imagine our
when he
surprise.
proved to be exactly what we thought. You know, like again, men are not going to sit here and text their wives, girlfriends, hey, can you help me with the surprise for my wife for her wedding? So we're like, oh my God, I wonder what it's going to be.
We're like, of course, anything. What do you need?
Yeah, what-
I have a partnership with, I don't even know, he doesn't even sound like that, but he's just like, I have a partnership with this shirt company. They sell golf shirts and I have a
dog bandanas.
and if you use my code Rob, I get a free shirt. So he
You're
wa-
like, cool.
so to make it clear, he wants us to purchase a shirt.
use his code.
Use his code for 10% off so that way he gets a free shirt. Right. But one, I don't golf. And he goes, no, the shirt would be for me. I will pay you for the. I said, so you're getting a free shirt, but you're spending money on a shirt. He goes, which in his defense, he's right. It is a 2-for-1 at that point. Because I'm like, so you're going to spend. And mind you, I don't know if you know this, but those shirts are not cheap.
Nope. Not cheap at all.
We spent
You should look at it.
$80.
You should look at this closet.
We spent $80. So I'm like, okay. I mean, I trust he's gonna be good for the money and pay us back. I don't.
pay you?
Yes.
Yeah, I don't doubt that.
Oh my God, I was like, did he pay you?
Yeah, no, he did. He did. But I'm just like,
Goodness
I'm
gracious.
like the week before your wedding, and
This
you're
is-
worried about getting a golf shirt with slices of pizza on them.
What was on his mind?
And then I felt low key kind of guilty because I'm like, wait, why is Erin not in this message?
What do
Right.
you
So then
think?
we're like, wait, is this a secret?
Yeah. So I'm like, are we not supposed to tell her? I don't want to keep secrets from her, but it's not a
my
big
God.
deal, whatever. So then the shirt comes.
And we're
so,
like, wait, do we put this in the group chat? Like, is this a secret?
You poor things. A lot of pressure.
So then the shirt comes and it's like, okay, whatever. And then he gets his shirt. He's like, I'm like, well, can we just mail it to you? He goes, no, because they can't know that it's me buying the shirt for myself because he's getting something from them. So it's like he's swindling the company to get 2 shirts. So it has to be sent to us. So I'm just like, okay, yeah, because an Amanda Hudson in the same neighborhood that you live in needs a men's XL pizza golf shirt. Yeah, okay. Okay. So then,
With literally the same zip code.
yeah, so I'm like literally like,
Please.
this is what he's thinking about and spending money on a week before the wedding.
Yeah. And then we forgot to bring it to the wedding.
And he was
And
so
he was
mad. I
definitely
could
not
tell he
happy.
was not happy about it.
I was so happy you didn't bring it. I was extremely pleased. By
But
that.
then we texted in the chat, hey, can we bring your shirt? And you're like, what shirt? And then I could just see you at home being like, Robert, what shirt?
I literally was like, what are they talking about?
He was caught.
Caught red-handed.
Oh, we blew up a
God.
spot.
Yep.
I feel bad.
Don't feel bad. Did to himself. And then
Did it
yeah,
to
it was a
himself.
whole thing. I was like, why are you making people do that for you?
Literally bringing us into his Ponzi scheme.
Yeah.
Making
And
us
I
an
was like,
accessory
what-
to a crime.
I was like, what, why are you doing that? And he was like, it's not a big deal. I was like, it is a big deal.
But the funniest thing is, like, does he or does he not have a bunch of golf friends? Why are they doing? Why are they?
he
buying these
probably
shirts?
made them do it too.
He's probably already asked all of them.
Yeah.
He's
He's trying to
exhausted.
go down the list.
He's exhausted all his options.
None of the golf bros wanted the shirt, so he had to resort to the lesbians. Like, he's like, all right, I guess they'll have to
Next
do.
on the list. My God.
But yeah, that was a funny moment because I really was like,
A week before, yeah.
I was like, oh my God, we're going to be on like a secret wedding mission. No, it was Operation
wait to tell him
Pizza
that.
Slice
He'll
Shirt.
find out.
The way we laughed so hard that, like, we could not get over it. It was
No.
just so funny.
No. But anyway, this was so fun.
This was great.
This was cathartic. It was, again, so nice to have our first guest. So we're no longer liars to our listeners saying a guest is forthcoming. We've had a guest and she was great.
Thank you for having me.
How do you feel about your first podcast experience?
Is this your first podcast?
Yeah, it is.
Because what if you're like a
Actually-
pro and you just didn't tell us? What if you've been
Yeah,
on like 4
no,
podcasts?
this is my first
She's like,
time
I
being on a
actually am a
podcast.
host of my own podcast. Thanks.
Let me plug it here.
Yeah.
No, this is my first time being on a podcast.
Okay.
Congrats.
Wonderful.
So we'll see how it all turns out.
Yeah. Actually,
Great.
people are probably going to in the comments say, why don't you kick Amanda off the show and Mikey and Erin should just, like, they're over me.
No.
And they're ready for you. Well, it was so great to have you. Thank you for putting up with Pig just sitting on you.
I wouldn't
and
not want him here.
yes. Well, listeners at home, you know where to find us. Can Complain Pod on Instagram, on TikTok. You can Gmail us if you want to send us. If you want to send us a fax to get in touch with us, no. But again, you can email us if you have a topic that you would like to complain about. You can send a voice note.
Love that.
You can email it. We'll talk about it on your behalf. Follow us on social media. If you would like to be so inclined to leave us a review, Spotify only lets you rate 5 stars. Last thing, I had a nightmare last night that there was multiple people who left us a 2-star rating.
no.
And I woke up and we had like a 4.75
It was
rating.
probably the AMC and the pedicure place. After listening to this episode.
Yeah, Shanti's beautiful nails are now going and rating my podcast badly. But anyways, please rate us 5 stars. And if you're on Apple, please leave a written review. The more of those we get, the more we get boosted to the everyday people who are not our friends who we force to listen to this. But yeah, thank you all so much. I hope you enjoyed the new theme song. Hope you enjoyed our guest. And Erin, please come back anytime, dear friend.
I can't wait.
All right. Scoo-doo-doo-doo, bow wow wow.